Always good.
I call.
Good evening. Welcome to our special board meeting for Monday, for Tuesday, February 4th. And I'd like to call the meeting to order. And Ms. Lane, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With that, I'd like to ask for approval of the agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed. With that, I would like to open the floor for citizen comments, and no particular order, but we'll start on the right side of the room here. Anybody on the right side of the room care to make public comment? Anybody on the left side of the room care to make public comment? Quiet group? Okay.
Those are the ones you have to be careful.
So, seeing no public comment, we will bring it back here to the board. And I just want to make a note that I know that our board is receiving phone calls. I know I've received a few with regard to, if you can pass that down, Kathy, with regard to wanting to talk about whether it's police negotiations or parks and rec. Well, we do have a policy that we speak with one voice as an organization here as a township, and that you can see by the policy that we adopted in 2018 that the policy covers any and all media requests for interviews, press releases concerning township issues. And so we ask that any employees or officials, if they're contacted by the media, that you refer those to Dennis or myself. Okay? The exception being the police chief and the fire chief can grant interviews of a departmental nature. So with that,
This wasn't on the agenda.
No, it isn't, but I wanted to clarify. So anyways, with regard to the executive session that we've scheduled, I guess if somebody wants to make the motion to...
So moved, Mr. Chair, that we go into executive session to get an update on the police negotiations.
We do it out in the open or not?
The motion?
No.
I have a question.
Support?
Okay,
Support.
there's a motion, support, discussion,
Excuse
Mr.
me,
Thomas?
Mr. Mansour?
Mr. Thomas?
Is there a reason why we can't do this in open session?
Yes.
Through you to the superintendent, what is the reason?
Typically, especially since you're negotiating with police officers who are the bulk of the audience in the room, you're going to discuss where we're at in negotiations. You wouldn't have those conversations here. You'd have those negotiations in executive session. If the board wishes to hear an update, and then if there's a change in direction, if you wish to make a change in direction, then typically that would be done in executive session, and you direct your negotiating team to move forward.
Okay.
Mr. Massey?
I think the superintendent mentioned the update. We can have that update openly, right?
No.
I mean, you guys can negotiate in public if you so desire, but
No.
typically one of the 6 or so reasons that you can go into a closed session, one of those is union negotiations.
Let me, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Massey?
The only reason I'm trying to make this clear, if any one of you out in the audience were here last night, that particular incident, you guys wanted to discuss it openly until I raised my hand and you gave me authority to speak on it. And I said last night that was the first time that we would have had a discussion openly about a contract.
Right.
Okay, and so nobody spoke out but me then. Now I hear the superintendent speaking out against it, but last night he did not speak out against it. So here's what I'm saying. We have one voice and we have a policy that when we negotiate contract, they're done in the executive session. Mm-hmm. So last night, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it, the chair wanted to break the rule.
Okay, can I clarify? Mr. Lemina?
So when you look at the reasons in the Open Meetings Act that you're allowed to go into a closed session, collective bargaining agreement negotiations are one of the reasons that are listed for you allowed to go in legally into closed session. Independent contracts are not one of the listed reasons unless you're going in there to discuss an attorney-client privileged communication. Just to go in to discuss independent contract negotiations is not an authorized Open Meetings Act closed session valid reason.
But that's what we were discussing last night.
Well, actually, the reason given for the closed session was an attorney written opinion. And that's the only reason why we went in there, is because, and David sent out an email so that we could go into closed session if we chose to.
But Mr. Chair, the only thing in question, should we have some kind of, should we get a clarification on
Sure.
why we are here?
We are here to discuss an update with regard to police negotiations with the union, with our negotiators, to see where we're at.
Okay.
All right? So it's been, Mr. Thomas?
This is the first time the board has, as a group, has brought anything to us about the police contracts. So this is a clear update for us, very clear.
I would disagree with that assessment. I believe that we have been updated. But anyways.
We have not been updated.
Okay.
No, not at all.
Have you guys been
No,
updated?
no
Call the
updates.
question,
Okay.
please, Mr. Chair.
Okay, it's a roll call vote.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mansour?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
No.
Mr. Atkins?
Yes.
Mr. Guzak?
Yes.
Mr. Massey?
Yes.
Myself, yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Okay. Okay, do I have a motion to
So moved.
resume our board meeting?
I'll support Mr. Thomas's action to return to a regular meeting.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We had a very good executive session to talk about where we're at with our police negotiations. And so very pleased with that meeting. Mr. Atkins?
Yeah, I just wanted to say this, this special meeting was very informative for the board to get a progress update on where we stand with the police negotiations. It's very, you know, this board stands behind our police department 100%, as well as our community, and I think they know that. And we're very encouraged to see the progress that's being made with how the police are really working with the township to come to a good resolution that is in both of our favors.
I would agree. Thank you, Mr. Atkins. I agree. So anyways, with that, I think this will end the special meeting.
Make a
So
motion to
moved,
adjourn?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Mansour, Ms. Lane,
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
All
He
right,
does.
what's the time, Al?
Oh, I don't know, what time is it? How about 8:40?